quality of education.
You didn't slow down.
MJC, which is the engine of Modesto's economy, has suffered devastating budget cuts at the state level, affecting the quality of education. If elected, how would you use your position as mayor to help Modesto Junior College?
Thank you. Number one, I would be willing to advocate at state and with our assembly people, with our senators, that this is a prime part of Modesto, a prime growth engine of Modesto, and that it needs all consideration for its speeds. I like to tell something that I do at my business that is almost unique. I pay health care for both my full-time and part-time employees. I have a 401k with a match for my employees. I do profit sharing for my employees, but I think the really special thing to show you how important education is, I pay tuition for my employees that are working for me while they're going to MJC or Stan State. I don't think you'll find that of almost any other business in Modesto. That's the important education has to me. And I will continue to support education. And there's a lot of other things that I do. I'm on the Parent Institute for Quality Education to teach low-income families the importance of keeping their kids in school so they graduate. I'm on the SPY board, which does vocational education and really trains young adults into the job market. And we are putting over 100 high school graduates into manufacturing jobs every year through SPY. And so I think that's the kind of thing that shows my commitment to education and my commitment to MJC.
Thank you, Mr. Marsh. If we could hold applause until the end, please. Thank you. Mr. Zalaki, same question.
What's happened to tuitions in the state of California is really a travesty, in the sense that if we expect the state to be able to grow, if we expect it, I'm talking about grow economically, and we expect our community to be able to grow economically, we have to remain on, or get on, and then remain on the cutting edge of where the economy is. This is critical. And what's happened to the colleges is not a good thing. It's probably, in my campaign I talk about jobs being important. Crime, addressing crime is absolutely critical, and we've got reasons for all that, but we're talking about education is the third pillar of improving not only our local economy, but improving how we can improve our local city. It is really a travesty. So what can I do as mayor? A lot. One, we can work together, JC, the college district, with City Hall, to get through some of the roadblocks that are stopping. Number two, we need to be a little louder voice at Sacramento to relay the information of the importance of education. Without education, we're going to fall further and further and further behind. We are now one of the lower states on where we should be economically, much less educationally. That's got to stop. We should be the lead. We're 80 miles from technology center of the world, and that advantage has been bypassing us for more than a decade now, a decade and a half. We should have been in the center of that, taking full opportunity. So there is plenty of options that the mayor can do. Though it may seem limited, there's no governmental power that we can exercise other than exercise the voice, and in order to get the information out there to all of you to react at the proper time and go get our share from state. We cannot leave it the way it is right now. It's too important. If we lose it, we're going to only go backwards in our standing with other states in this country, much less our standing in the world. We are in a competitive world right now, and where we are right now, we must move forward in order to get into a competitive nature to compete in a world economy.
Thank you. Mr. Ariola?
Well, why do we need an education fund? If they put a budget cut on education, they shouldn't ask for it, the state shouldn't. But if they're asking you for an education, they should provide you with the money. Through the budget cut, they should be able to give you fundings or grants for your school, on your education, for your whatever way you want to go with your economics into your work fields. Also, as I say, you know, I did the budget cut and I did the college with Jerry, and that's the way it's gonna be. If you need if we're not paying for your education, we're not asking you for an education, but if you're gonna force an education on us, then we have the money to pay for it once the budgetary recovery. With the recession, but right now, a lot of people aren't here, so there isn't a lot of money to be put into the colleges.
Thank you. Mr. Hahn?
The state has taken other priorities in the way they spend our money that we give them. They should be stewards of the tax dollars, but what they have done is, in all of this time, there's been 1,400 state jobs added. That's money that should be coming to schools. But because they can't deal with their issues in Sacramento, we're basically stuck with it at the local level. And that's really the biggest issue. But like I said earlier, that's not a good enough answer, because we have to solve our own problems here. And we need to work together more. I've been working with Modesto City Schools over the last few months, or almost a year and a half, about combining bus systems, consolidating things that provide services that aren't about education, but they're making the bill smaller so that we can provide more education, because that's what it's about. Is we're not spending as much money on the buildings and stuff like that. We have a common maintenance group that does all schools in the county. It'll save us money, which will give us more money to be able to help with education. I think that in these days, we have to think outside the box again. I believe that the city's responsibility, the mayor's responsibility, is to provide an atmosphere for education, business, and all sectors of society to be successful. And one thing that we need to do with schools is, I know the art program basically got gutted here, and so did the engineering. I went to school here and I was an engineering student. We need to work together. We need to provide that. The city needs to work in partnership with the high schools as well as MJC to provide magnet-type high school, junior college environment so that we can deal with this at our own local level. Because I don't think the state's they're not gonna be responsible with the money that's up there. They've proven that, and they'll continue to do that.
Thank you.